Think of this as a conspiracy theory, true or false test. Or when George W. Bush started his first oil company, who helped fund it? Osama bin Laden's brother and brother-in-law, true or false? After a terrorist bomb at a barracks in Saudi Arabia killed 19 Americans, who got the multi-million-dollar contract to rebuild? The bin Ladens, true or false? On the morning of September 11, 2001, who was in a meeting at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Washington, George Bush Sr. and Osama bin Laden's brother? True or false? Actually, the answer could be all of the above, because believe it or not, as far-fetched as they sound, each and every one of these is true. The world believes that 9/11 was a conspiracy carried out by Islamic Muslim extremists with financing from Muslim charities. Others believe it was a conspiracy carried out by an organization a little larger than that. Is there any evidence to support that belief? It doesn't take an Enron accountant to figure out who's cashing in. During the first week, the 9/11 producers made a spectacular fortune just on the stock market alone. How? By knowing in advance that the stocks and airline and insurance companies associated with the 9/11 crash would fall in value. Using that inside information, they made negative bets on the stock market called put options. Put options are bets that a certain stock will fall in value by a certain date. It's big risk gambling unless you've got inside information that can turn your bet into a sure thing. But that's illegal if you get caught at it. Put option bets on the decline in 9/11 related airline and insurance stocks skyrocketed by a whopping 600% just before 9/11, which means that somebody knew about the attacks before they happened. Who exactly were these somebodies? Merrill Lynch and HSBC, Morgan Stanley, Dean Witter, the Bank of America, weapons manufacturer Raytheon, the Lehman Brothers, General Motors, Swiss Re, Munich Re, and AXA Insurance Company, which owns 25% of American Airlines. These insiders placed put options through Deutsche Bank. Krongard, the former executive director of the CIA, just happened to be the manager of Deutsche Bank. And so the profiteers from 9/11 were not Osama bin Laden or his band of US-trained Arabs. They were blue-chip Israeli, US, and British businessmen. Within the first week, the 9/11 producers sucked up $40 billion in profits from US taxpayers who were hypnotized, terrorized, and traumatized by the infinite reruns. The reason the collapsing buildings looked like a controlled demolition, say experts, is because they were a controlled demolition. Photos and video recordings confirm that explosions occurred at the base of the two towers, as well as in Building 7 before they fell on September 24th. Firefighter Louis Cacchioli told People Weekly, point blank, "We think there were bombs set in the building." That claim was echoed by many witnesses and by firefighters who heard the explosions just before Tower 1, Tower 2, and Building 7 collapsed. The steel that supported the twin towers were built to withstand the impact of a passenger jetliner. Yet the official explanation for their collapse is that the burning jet fuel heated the steel support beams and caused them to buckle. Independent investigators insist that it is impossible for jet fuel burning to melt steel, and that most of the jet fuel burned up outside the buildings in clearly visible fireballs. After the crashes, the white smoke turned black, indicating cooling temperatures, not rising temperatures as reported. However, the temperature must have risen in order to cause the free fall collapse. A fact we will have to revisit later in this discussion.